Chapter 13 Nightmare. It only took one shuddering breath for Sakura to realize something was off. The unfamiliar air catching in her throat tasted far too musty, and she could feel its heaviness weighing down on her exposed skin. She opened her eyes to crack to find that she was in a dark cell, her back pressed up against a cold stone wall. A jail cell? How on earth did she wind up here? Sakura scanned her surroundings carefully for a means of escape, but there were no windows or openings in sight. Her vision felt a little hazy and distorted, but through the darkness she could make out the silhouette of a figure moving outside the bars of her cell. The figure placed a pair of the metal bars. Fear pulsed through her when she recognizes the figure's chakra as Maru's. Sakura motioned to scramble to her feet, but her body wasn't listening to her. Her limbs were so heavy that they were nearly immobile. Using all the strength she could muster, Sakura craned her neck towards the ground in search of a weapon. But there was none. Not even her thigh was bare. Weapon holes were nowhere in sight. In fact, it appears she was wearing a nightgown. Now, she got a proper look at herself, she noticed something else was different about her legs. They were muscular and toned. With alert, Sakura realized she was back in her older body. This meant that the powers of the time travel scroll had broken. Not that it mattered. Whichever life she was in, right now she was completely and utterly defenseless. To Sakura's horror, a pair of enormous snakes slithered between the bars and into her cell. They were as huge as pythons, except jet black and bulging, yellow eyes piercing her hungrily. She opened her mouth to yell for help, but no sound came out. That was when she felt scaly skin against her ankles as snakes began coiling around her calves and spiraling up her barrel. She couldn't move or speak, so she sat there, eyes wide with terror, as the snakes pinned her more firmly against the wall. A shift in her periphery indicated that the figure was now in her cell, staring down at her amusingly, his arms folded across her chest. It wasn't Orochimaru. It was Sasuke. The Sasuke of her old life. Her heart sank. This couldn't be happening. He drawled, but curling into a menacing smile. His hand leisurely resting on the handle of a sword secured at his lip. It's been a while, he added while tilting his head and grinning. Sakura withered against the tight holds of snakes, trying to wrench her gaze away from the deranged look in Sasuke's blood-red eyes. But she couldn't. His Sharingan was spinning, and Sakura knew she had already failed fit him to his Genjutsu spell. She squinted up at her former teammate through the darkness, while pushing against her scaly restraints, which were now twisting down the length of her arms. It's no use. She couldn't move at all. What are you doing? She stammered out hoarsely, finally finding her voice. Then, to her surprise, Sasuke chuckled. The sound had an unkind, dangerous ring. He approached slowly, crouched over Sakura's stretched body, red eyes wide and locked on hers the entire time. There's no Sasuke here, he hissed, his hand while arching his body lower, distorting the gap between them. You are too late. Raised his hand abruptly. Sakura half expected Sasuke to strike her. Instead, he clawed at his own forehead and started peeling away the skin on the right side of his face, like a shedding snake. His face beneath his peeled back skin was white. So white at first glance, Sakura thought it was bone. And a long, narrow tongue curled past his parted lips. His eyes rolled back into his skull, replaced by the yellow eyes of a snake. That wasn't his skeleton peeking through his torn skin. It was a bony white face. A face she knew too well. She started screaming, trying to escape to half Sasuke, half Orochimaru. But he was drawing nearer, his hot breath on her face, and his long, skeletal fingers curling around her throat. Sakura bolted upright in her bed, screaming, trembling, drenched in sweat. Wasting no time, she sprang to her feet, snatched up the knife she had stowed under her pillow, waved it around wildly, heartbeat pounding in her ears. Where was Orochimaru? The snakes! And Sasuke? What happened to him? Did Orochimaru finally take his body for a host? Crash! Right on cue. Someone smashed through her bedroom window. Sakura's nerves were on high alert. She was ready. She caught a glimpse of a pair of Sharingan-lit eyes flying through the shards of glass. saying that it was either Sasuke or Orochimaru Sasuke's spy. She wasn't taking any chances. Sakura, Sasuke started, but Sakura's chocolate-loaded fist got swearing in the face before he could pressing into the opposite wall of her bedroom. That was when I thought, was Susie in a jail cell? When did she return to her bedroom? But I felt a whole lot lighter, like younger Dad did when she was pinned down by the snakes. I must have time to ponder this, because in a split seconds, a chain of events unfolded. Sasuke crashed into a wall, set off several of the booby traps he previously laid down in her room. As Barazo Kunai pelted down, launching in his leg. Akira rolled to his side, trying to support a bleeding nose. Nelly avoided a net that was launched at him from his hiding place behind her desk. Sakura stared, bewildered at the scene before her, eyes starting from her fist to the injured Sasuke on the bedroom floor. Nose bleeding heavily, despite his attempts to pinch it and stifle the blood flow. Two kunai were in bed, deep in his left leg. He pulled himself up to his feet, noticing he was quite uncoordinated. She looked about as confused as he felt. What the hell was that? He growled, staring at her in darkness. His eyes narrowed with rage. And now she got a good look at him. Sakura noted his skin wasn't peeling off his face at all. In fact, he bore no resemblance to Orochimaru. The older Sasuke wasn't here. And come to think of it, the older Sasuke didn't exist anymore. Oh. What's a nightmare? She whispered herself to him. It slowly dawned to her the message he just created. Sasuke. So, there's no one breaking into your room. Yes, her hand clenched around his nose, tone flat. No, I suppose not. Besides you anyways. He was living now. Sakura didn't catch his angry retaliation as the voice of her father was rumbling down the hallway. Sakura! What on earth is going on in there? Oh no. Her eyes widened when her brain finally processed that her bedroom window was now completely smashed. Parents evidently heard her screams, blood was all over her bedroom floor. Not to mention, still in the room. Get out! She hissed at her teammate, picked for her own. She tossed in the first piece of fabric within an arm's reach and sent it in his face to staunch the bleeding while pushing him towards her window. There was a loud knocking at her door. Sakura! There? Cried a voice, this time of her mother. Yes! Sakura answered just as Sasuke stumbled back out her window and disappeared into the night. When she spun back around, she absolutely noticed the balls of some pain at her feet. Glancing down, Sakura deduced she turned the cigar into glass and perfect! Her feet were bleeding all over the floor. Now the blood Sasuke left behind might pass as hers. After quickly deactivating the traps around the door, unlocking it, and throwing the door open, Sakura greeted her worried parents with the brightest of smiles. Hi! She beamed, as if her bedroom didn't look. What's it did? Sakura, what? Don't worry about a thing, Mom. I could be a very happy sleeper. And that was how Sakura ended up hiding in her parents' garden in the dead of night, picking up shards of glass out of her feet and healing the broken nose of her very unhappy teammate. It took a while for Sakura to explain to her parents that she had kicked through the window in her sleep, and that feeling they were completely sold on her story. Myra suggested she speak to a counselor about channeling her anger through heavenly outlets, and her father vented about how expensive fixing the window would be. But all in all, they seemed relieved that their daughter was safe and they could go back to bed. Sakura would probably hear more about it in the morning, but until then, she was in the clear. She was certain her parents were asleep. Sakura crept out of her yard, where she detected Sasuke's chakra signature. He was sitting on the bench in her mother's flower garden, next to a pair of bloody kunai, which Sakura presumed he had pulled out of his leg. She using the soft material Sakura had thrust down previously, which Sakura realized with a pang of dread was her favorite training dress, the stifling. They sat there in silence for a long while, except for her injuries. She was wearing a nightgown, and a chilly breeze raised goosebumps across her exposed arms and legs. Ignoring her growing urge to shiver, she focused her energy on the medical chakra radiating from her hands. She only ventured to break the silence when Sasuke's nose was entirely healed. You didn't stick to the plan, Sakura said flatly, looking up from his leg, and thankful to find that the kunai wounds were healing nicely. We agree we start tracking down the stalker tomorrow night. I know that, he said, his voice equally monotone. But Sakura could tell he was buying back some kind of emotion, which she suspected was fury. I was just surveilling the area. Sakura raised her eyebrow. Surveilling the area? She repeated, casting a skeptical glance. Is that how you normally spend your time in the middle of the night? That doesn't concern you. Sasuke snapped, showing her an angry glare. But she was stirring. You keep crossing through my bedroom window, she retorted, voice rising. Of course this concerns me. Sasuke was now running his fingers along the bridge of his freshly healed, inspecting it for aches and pains. So, I'm supposed to just leave you in there screaming? He answered. He managed to keep his tone calm and collected. Or would you prefer I knocked on the window and asked for permission to save you from a potential attacker? Sakura gritted her teeth. It's hard to argue with someone with such good intentions. Angry she was, her heart clenched at the thought of his stubborn persistence to protect her. It was far too much of a coincidence that he was surveilling near her house in the middle of the night. Yeah, I remind you folks that in early Naruto, if you pay close into the background as everybody's talking, Sasuke never leaves Sakura's side. Ever. And a lot of times, if you watch in the background of the manga and the anime, continually they find themselves holding hands. Sasuke rose to his feet, testing us. Like, fine, I get it. Sakura grumbled, her frustration dissipating. I'm just a little sticking up for the nightmare. Let's go back to the original plan tomorrow, alright? At your hospital shift tomorrow, for me as possible for your end of the deal. He said, providing an indirect answer to her question. We have a few more days left before our next mission. I'd like to have your part taken care of by then. Sakura nodded, thankful that Sasuke was addressing her breaking into the hospital scheme in vague terms. But it was lessening. Alright, she said dismissively, also standing up. I guess I'll go to bed then. She paused. I mean, the couch. You can't sleep in a room with a gaping hole in the wall, I suppose. You can't. He seemed in deep contemplation about something. But you only have to make it through one more night. I'll tell you the details when you get off work tomorrow, he said. Make it after dinner, Sakura corrected, remembering he had an important errand to run. I have somewhere to be in the afternoon. Sasuke cast her a suspicious glance before shrugging and walking away. Whatever. Good night. He flash-stepped out of her garden. Sakura caught one fleeting glimpse of a Uchiha crest on the nearby roof disappeared from sight. It was rather heart-wrenching to compare this Sasuke to the one in her nightmares. The healing moments prior, she couldn't help flinching at the sight of his face at such a proximity, with images from her nightmares sailing in her mind. That dream had been too vivid, and too reminiscent of a darker life she once lived. And as he placed her glowing green hands on Sasuke's face to heal it, his closed eyes to snap open and cast her a deranged glare, offering to claw her throat with long, skeletal fingers. But he didn't. He wouldn't, because this Sasuke valued her life, was willing to go far lengths to care for it. Sakura picked up a pair of kunai, and her bare blood-soaked dress, before heading back into the house, using all her effort to clear her mind. Thinking about Sasuke at the present was as much of a nightmare thinking of the one in her past. Because she knew she failed the course of history, there'd be no difference between them.